All right, Paul, Jared Branthwaite has been the topic of conversation for a long time now. Real Madrid is the most recent club to be linked with him. Could you really see him making a move to Real Madrid? We know they've been in the market for a young center back.
Listen, he's going to get linked to a lot of clubs, isn't he? I mean, I was astounded that he wasn't in the initial England squad. That somebody like Harwood Bellis went in the England squad ahead of him. I think when he's fit and he's playing well, we talk about him quite often on the pod. We talk about his transfer fee and his valuation. You look at Mark Gay, you look at the money, the figures that were branded around him. Obviously, his contract's now dropping down. Listen, Pete will have more information than me on Branthwaite's contract, but the kind of figure he's going to attract, it might be beneficial for Everton. You know, when you look at the amount of money that's coming into the club, as in the takeover, but then you look at one player and what he could bring in. Real Madrid, is he a ball-playing centre-half? Is he good enough to play at Real Madrid? I think he's still got a lot more to prove, in all honesty. I think he's a top young centre-back who's in the buying potential. But I mean, with the length of contract he's on, I suspect it's a long one, Pete. I think it'll take a big transfer fee.
Yeah, still 2.5 years to go once we get to that January transfer window. So Everton under real no pressure to sell him, especially now with this takeover getting ever closer as well. And I can't imagine these new owners will want to send out signals that they're selling their best players as soon as they take over. So I think a January move would be highly unlikely. But the interesting thing here is it's Carlo Ancelotti's son who I think is really pushing for this move. David Ancelotti, who obviously both of them worked at Everton before moving to Real Madrid, but he's a big fan of Jared Branthwaite and thinks he could be the answer to their defensive problems. We know how badly hit they've been hit by injuries this season defensively. Real Madrid with Militao, the latest one to pick up that ACL injury following off the back of Dani Carvajal. So I think Real Madrid will have to maybe bring a stopgap in January to sort out their defensive problems, and then look in the summer to reinforce that back line.
Branthwaite's not the stopgap, though, is he? I mean, no. He's a big deal. That's not a just let's get somebody in January, pay a few quid, and fill a hole in January. That's a big deal. That's a statement deal. And even Everton, in the financial situation they're currently in without the takeover, I still don't think they're deal in January.
No. Yeah, it's a long-term signing, Branthwaite, and as you said, I don't think he's ready myself to maybe make that move to Real Madrid. I'm sure there will be lots of speculation about him in January, and more likely in the summer. Then a move possibly could happen for Jared Branthwaite, because I'm sure if he wants to get in that England squad regularly, he probably feels himself he needs to be playing at a higher level, playing European football on a regular basis.
And what feels more unlikely, him moving to Liverpool in the summer or to Real Madrid in the summer?
Well, I wouldn't like to be the Everton owners that sold Jared Branthwaite to Liverpool, let's put it that way. Yeah, I don't see that move happening at all. I think that's just would be too much controversy around that move if it was to happen. And Branthwaite himself, I'm sure he won't have any shortage of takers. Manchester United are still there and interested in him. They had 2 bids rejected for the defender in the summer transfer window, so I don't think their interest has totally gone away. And if you've got Real Madrid showing interest in you as well, it would be a hard thing to turn down if the Spanish giants did come calling for you.
Listen, I think if there was a move to Liverpool for him, if he ever did move to Liverpool, if he moved to Liverpool, he's better off living in Madrid and travelling every day.
And then Tariq Lamptey is another one on the radar, Pete, for Everton. Potentially someone who could play on both sides of the back four, both at right back and left back. It gives him a little bit of versatility.
Yeah, he would definitely fill in at a few positions, which Everton are short in. I think full-back areas is a area of the team that Sean Dyche would like to strengthen in. He was keen to bring in some reinforcements in the summer window, which they didn't do. They've got Ashley Young playing at right back at the minute, and then you've got Seamus Coleman as well, who's been such a great servant to the club, but picks up so many injuries these days, and we know he's getting to the twilight years of his career as well, a bit like Ashley Young. So long term, I think Everton do need to bring in a right back. Lamptey would be an interesting option. A few years ago we were talking about Tariq Lamptey as being one of the best young players in the Premier League. Obviously he's struggled with injuries, and since then he's really struggled to nail down a regular place in the Brighton side as well. So he's got a big decision to make. He's in now the final year of his contract, so come January, he could agree a pre-contract with a club abroad, which there's been talk about as well, while he could maybe wait and leave on a free transfer in the summer, which I think would be more viable for Everton. I think they'd prefer to wait until then and sign Lamptey, but there's also other clubs looking at the Ghana International. I think West Ham or one of the other Premier League clubs who are keeping a close eye on Lamptey, and I'm sure Brighton, they might have to look at a deal in January, because they could risk losing him for nothing come next summer.